And we train for a couple different reasons. Firstly, we train because it is really great enrichment for our animals. It gives them something interesting to do, it gives them something new to learn, learning new behaviors, trying new things, using their brains, and getting up and moving around their habitat in ways that they might not do very often on a daily basis. Now, we also train with our animals for what are known as medical and husbandry behaviors. That's kind of a fancy term, but basically what it means is we want our animals to be able to participate in their own care. So we want them to be able to choose voluntarily when and how they participate in different things that will help us to make sure that they get the best possible care here at the zoo. So that could be things like checking your flippers to make sure that there's no stiffness. It could be things like checking over their body condition to make sure there aren't any scrapes, lumps, bumps, bruises, anything that we might need to let our vet staff know about. It could also include things like checking in their mouth, check on their teeth and their gums. It can even include more complicated behaviors like voluntary ultrasounds, voluntary radiographs, voluntary dental x-rays, eye drops, injections, blood draws, all of these different things. Pretty much anything that you would do when you go to the doctor or the dentist, we want to be able to work with our animals to do. So you can see a couple of those behaviors happening behind me. Ronan is a little bit newer, so she is still learning a couple of these medical behaviors. We are always trying to teach our animals something new, so Ronan is still learning, but she does a great job with the behaviors that she knows. Now, another big reason of why we train is to develop a positive relationship with our animals and to make sure that we have a bank of trust that we can use if there ever is a situation that maybe is a little bit more uncomfortable or more stressful for our animals. We are responsible for these animals caring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we want to make sure that we can have that positive relationship. And that is why we use positive reinforcement training with our animals. So we never force the animals to do anything. We honestly couldn't even if we tried. These are large animals and we can't really force them to do anything. We want them to work with us to do things. So that is again why we use that positive reinforcement training. Now, positive reinforcement training comes in a couple different steps. That first step is going to be asking the animal for a behavior using a cue. That could be a hand signal, it could be a verbal cue, it could even be a tactile cue, touching the animal in different places. It could even be a cue like throwing out that frisbee to ask Ronan to retrieve it. If our animal then performs that behavior as we were asking, like catching that frisbee there, they're going to hear what is called a bridge. That is essentially just something that tells the animal exactly when they performed the behavior and when it is completed to our expectations. That is that good that you might have been able to do throughout the demonstration so far. Then, of course, they're going to receive that reinforcement, which for our animals is a nice tasty piece of fish. If our animals ever don't perform the behavior we were asking, or maybe perform a different behavior than what we were asking, there's no punishment. These guys don't really know the word no. We just take a step back, we let them think about what they're doing, and we let them either try that behavior again, or we move on to a different behavior to keep that session really positive and upbeat. Now, throughout this demonstration, you have seen a couple of the things that make sea lions different than seals. One of them that Ronan was just demonstrating with that spin behavior there is that sea lions can rotate their pelvis underneath them and bear weight on those flippers. This is what a seal might look like a little bit more. Seals actually don't have a rotating pelvis, so they sort of do more of a caterpillar inchworm motion on land called galumphing. Yes, that is the technical term. So seals can be a lot less mobile and agile on land than our sea lion friends. Now, another big difference between seals and sea lions are going to be their vocalizations. So sea lions, of course, with that distinctive bark or roar that you often associate with the California coast. Seals, on the other hand, have more of a low moaning, groaning vocalization. That is typically not something that we would associate with sea lions. Now, another big difference between these animals is that maybe if you see a head sticking out of the water, you don't hear them. Something you can look for is ear flaps. So sea lions have external ear flaps on either side of their head that show you where their ears are. Seals, on the other hand, don't have any external ear flaps. They do have ears they can hear, but they just have little pinholes on the side of their head that lead down into the ear canal. So the next time you're looking and you're trying to decide if you're looking at a seal or a sea lion, those are some things that you can look for. Now, throughout this demonstration, you've seen us feed out lots and lots of tasty fish. We feed out 5 different kinds of fish to our animals. We feed butterfish, caitlin, and squid. That is both for variety in their diet and then also because each of those different fish have different nutritional values. All of our fish is hand sorted by staff or volunteers every single day. It is sustainably sourced and it is restaurant quality. So all of those trucks that'll go around to your favorite seafood restaurants in New City and deliver seafood there will also come here to the zoo and deliver our seafood for our animals. Now, sustainably sourced is kind of an interesting term. Not everybody really knows what that means. Essentially, what it means is those fish are caught using the most sustainable practices possible, including things like reducing pollution of nets and lures, making sure that the populations are really robust and can handle the pressures of fishing, and making sure that all of the fish are fresh and really high quality. Now, if you want to eat sustainably sourced seafood, just like our animals here at the zoo, you can actually go to seafoodwatch.org. It's also an app on your phone. It is run by the